to Lane Kiffin. How about Lane Kiffin? I had a chance to visit with Lane. Lane lost his father over the weekend, Monty, and I just wanted to say condolences, Lane. And he is not comfortable in media days type situations, so we didn't get to chat. But it was an incredible loss, and I hated that for him. I do think, though, that Monty would be proud of his son and what he's become. And I wanted a chance to tell Lane that, but I didn't get that opportunity because I don't think he would have been as proud back in 2010, Caleb. I think there was a lot of growing that had to do, but Lane Kiffin just decided to go all crazy rogue on Paul Finebaum. Can we pull that up?
Yeah, let's pull it up. This is Lane Kiffin calling out Paul Finebaum after Paul Finebaum talked about his time at USC. For those who don't remember, Paul Finebaum called Lane Kiffin the Miley Cyrus of coaches when he was right before he got fired at USC. Ouch. So here comes a little fun Lane Kiffin going back at Paul Finebaum.
Game day, you had to make your big splash, and they were watching it because I know the other person in the room.
Can we get some more volume off that?
And you said, "What a joke I was." I'm the Miley Cyrus.
Oh, let's go ahead and restart that. And I got it pumped now. Restart that.
Right here.
There we
All
go.
right.
Make your big splash, and they were watching it because I know the other person in the room that was watching it with them. And you said, "What a joke I was." I'm the Miley Cyrus of college football coaching, and I should be fired. And they looked at each other, and later that night I was fired.
Yeah, by the way.
So, but hey, look what happened. I would have never gotten to work for Coach Saban. All these other things wouldn't happen. So I appreciate you for helping getting me fired. Thank you.
Look at what you're doing today. You're predicted to go to the playoffs. And look at Miley Cyrus. She's had a nice comeback.
So you're wrong on that. I mean, you put me down with that. So really, I don't really know what you're good at. Like you predicted that Coach Saban was done. That didn't happen. You basically said Miley Cyrus stinks, and she's still going.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that.
Like and subscribe button now. That started off as playful sort of banter. That was not playful banter by the end. Lane Kiffin was he wanted to make a statement. That's a guy that thinks he's got something. That's a guy that thinks he might even have the job at Florida next year. That's a guy that feels really good about where he stands to go call Paul Finebaum out like that.
I totally agree. Just to throw a subtle dig, when Paul Finebaum said that about Miley Cyrus 12 years ago, Miley Cyrus was young enough for Lane Kiffin during that time. She's probably too old for him now, but sorry. But yeah, that was very personal. And it was kind of hilarious. You know, the great thing about Lane is he almost belongs on SNL, Dave, because he's so good at saying something that makes everybody laugh, but he says it so seriously. You know what I mean? Like, you remember those SNL skits where Will Ferrell would not bat an eye laughing, but everybody around him is dying laughing at that moment, and you just can't hold yourself. And what makes it funnier is Will Ferrell's just not moving, like it is acting like it's totally unfunny.
Yeah,
that's lame.
I shouldn't do this, but based off that, I want to put Ole Miss back in that one tier.
It was great. It was so great. I loved it
because it's so lame. It leads me to book. He got so much more comfortable in the 2009 season before, and I was like, "Why are you comfortable now when things aren't going well?" The reason was he figured out Jonathan Crompton. And it wasn't on display publicly until that Georgia game, if you remember. No, I'm not taking a shot at our Georgia listener who's on board now. But that was a stunner to everybody. Lane had figured him out. So he knew good things were coming. When you know good things are coming, you can accept the tough times in between. So Lane felt confident even before we knew he should. He's feeling confident right now. And we're going to find out if he should or not this season.
Oh, I agree. Now, Dave, here's my question to you about Lane. Because, right, he was feeling confident. Then he went to USC. The disaster happened. He got fired. He's confident again because of last year. Is Lane Kiffin somebody who, unfortunately, gets too confident once he has success and doesn't know how to handle it well?
Yes. Pride and ego will always be his elixir. And I believe that he takes steps to rein that in. I see all kinds of tweets from him that are very insightful, and there are too many of them, inspirational type tweets. There are way too many of them for him just to be throwing them out there and trying to change his perception. And I've also talked to people who that believe off the record he is a completely changed individual from some of the goofiness that you heard that went on at Tennessee. So.
And Miley Cyrus did get her first Grammy this year, by the way. So is that an omen for Lane Kiffin going to win a national title?
Is that going to be a column on offthehooksports.com? I would read that column.
I mean, you know, what's funny was that was unfair to Miley Cyrus 11 years ago. That was when Miley Cyrus was doing her drug-infused albums where she was going crazy, and everybody's like, oh my God, she's not classy. I'm like, I love it. I loved that Miley. That Miley was awesome. That was the best Miley. Bring Michael Made It Miley back, okay, when she was doing songs for Juicy J. Yeah, that's right.
I will let me throw this out. Pride and ego can trip you up and make you fall. So my question is, just theoretically, Billy Napier wins 8 games this year. Okay. Keeps his job. Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss another year because another great job doesn't come open. Has he done the recruiting necessary to support his future teams, or in his mind is he thinking, I've done this, I've figured this out, I'm ready to go somewhere else? That's where the pride could trip him up, and you got to be careful with ego. Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you not think that Ole Miss has the NIL collective to be able to do in the transfer portal once again what they did this past year? Do you think that's a one-time thing?
No. I think they can do that, but I talked to a lot of people in recruiting circles. The recruiting aspect is high school recruiting is every bit as important now with the transfer portal as it was. Do you know why, Caleb? Because you get to know these guys. You get to know their character a little bit. So when they come up in the portal, it's not the first time you've heard of John Smith. I mean, do you think that Lance Hurd entering the portal was the first time Tennessee had heard of him? No, everybody had heard of him. Everybody recruited him out of high school. So I actually think college football recruiting is as important or more important to get to know the kids early if they come out in the transfer portal.
Well, when I do my hot seat later this year, because Lane is what you're basically saying is Lane is taking a gamble on this year to hope that he gets maybe the Florida job, but a more high profile job next year. Looking at it, we'll have a hot seat convo before the season starts, and we got to look at the primary schools, Dave, the elite schools, the better schools in Ole Miss where coaches are on the hot seat, because somewhere one of them is bound to be fired. Because all I can think of right now is Billy Napier at Florida. Although I'm going to say it, Mario Cristobal should be on the hot seat just because of what he did last year at Miami. And I would love Lane Kiffin in Miami. That's what I want to see. I want Lane Kiffin in Miami.
I would like that. I would take Florida, but I would like that. Now, a crazy conspiracy theory, Caleb, is Lane Kiffin also saying this knowing that maybe a Paul Finebaum is close to retirement and he doesn't have to worry about him into the future, whether or not he's at Florida or wherever he might be?
I think Lane Kiffin is just like me, petty and savage, and he wants to, and when people annoy him, he wants to undercut them in a very negative way. And I can respect that.